Hello, welcome to the video. Today I'm doing something new for this YouTube channel. I usually just post kind of guitar videos and stuff. We're going to do an album review. We're going to try something a bit different, and the album in question is the Rolling Stones' Hackney Diamonds. Now, this came out a couple of months ago now, about 5 months ago, and I usually post these kind of album reviews on my TikTok, like really short album reviews, but I've decided to move it over here so I could talk about things more and in a little bit more depth. Hackney Diamonds is the 25th studio album by the Rolling Stones. It's their first record without the late great Charlie Watts, and well, this vinyl edition I've got is the pretty basic version. I think we'll just get that out of the way. It's got a gatefold. It just says Rolling Stones, obviously. The cover itself, I don't mind it, to be honest. I've heard a lot of people saying it's not that good, but I think it's okay. Track list on the back. And on the inside we've got the basic record. I've got the purple one. I think it was a HMV exclusive. I think that's where I got this from. And then there is an insert in there as well. The classic Stones logo that I've been using since 1971. It's also got personnel and like thanks for additional guest personnel, which is really nice actually. It's cool to see a new record have that stuff included. So this album was announced, I think, early September time, if I'm not wrong, or late August. And the leading single, of course, was Angry. They announced the album at a London event in Hackney, obviously. The leading single, Angry, which is the first track of the album, it's decent. It's a classic Stones rocker, really. It's got a pretty standard Keith Richards riff that you'd expect from him. Mixed vocals are decent. The production's quite glossy, I would say, for the entire album, really. But you know, I don't really think that's necessarily a bad thing. They're wanting to sound modern and what have you. In terms of personnel, it's got Keith, Ronnie on the guitars, which is obviously fantastic. That is, off the bat, a big highlight of this album. I love Keith and Ronnie's like harmonised playing anyway, but I would say that's certainly a strong point of this LP in particular. They're still really great players. It's a decent song. It's not one of my favourite Stones tracks. I remember when the single came out, everyone was saying, oh, it's like their best single since Miss You. No, absolutely not, but still not a bad song and a decent opening track for sure. Second song is Get Close. This is a really nice song. Again, the harmonised guitar playing from Keith and Ronnie is fantastic here, and mixed vocals are really nice, in the chorus especially. Decent drumming as well from Steve Jordan, who, you know, obviously is the replacement of Charlie Watts. He is no Charlie Watts, of course. Charlie's my favourite drummer. I've seen the Rolling Stones with this incarnation of the Rolling Stones live, and they were fantastic. But it does kind of feel something's missing without Charlie, I must say. But that is a really nice track, Get Close. It's one of my favourites on the album, to be honest. I'm not sure. No, it wasn't released as a single. I think it should have been, personally. Yeah, decent song. Depending on You. This is, again, one of my favourites on the album because it's got kind of quite nostalgic lyrics. It's like Mick is reminiscing on his life. I specifically love the I'm too young for dying and I'm too old to lose lyric. I think that's a really nice one. It's a lovely little track. It's got some nice slides as well, which you'd expect with a Rolling Stones track. Yeah, a really nice little tune, that one. One of the best on the album. Again, a songwriting high point on the record, as well as the vocals. I think Mick's vocals are brilliant on this. Then there's Bite My Head Off, which is another like rocking kind of tune. Features Paul McCartney on the bass. Decent track. It's not one of my favourites on the album, but it's a pretty cool song. It's got some nice little guitar solos and stuff. Mick's doing some quite shouty vocals over it, which is impressive for his age. It isn't bad at all, but it's not anything amazing, to be honest. And I think this track was hyped up a fair bit before the record was released. Obviously, you know, having Paul McCartney on the record is an exciting thing for a lot of music people, myself included, and his feature's cool. Yeah, it's not one of my favourite tracks though, to be honest. And then we have Her Wild World, which initially this song, I didn't like it. when the album came out, I found it a bit annoying for some reason. But it has grown on me over time. I think it has a decent pace. Songwriting's decent. Again, I think it's quite a reflective song, maybe about Mick Jagger when he was younger, kind of struggling to find any success or whatever. Before the Rolling Stones, obviously. Life in London, that kind of thing. A decent song in the way it's written, but I'm not really a huge fan of the production on this one, to be honest. It's a bit poppy for my liking. Not that there's anything wrong with that kind of production, but for a Rolling Stones song, I don't know. Not one of my favourites here, to be honest. Dreamy Skies, this one's alright. I like the slide guitars on it. Got certainly some very nice bits. It's not particularly memorable though. Another weaker track for me, to be honest. Yeah, it's okay. Not very much to say about that one. And next track, you flip it over if you're listening to it on the old vinyl. Next track, Mess It Up, which this features Charlie Watts on the drums. Great track. One of my personal favourites on the album. I think it's got a fantastic chorus, super catchy, really nice steady drum beat, I should expect from Charlie. A very nice song, very funky guitar playing as well, which I'm really fond of. It reminded me a little bit of something off Emotional Rescue. Very nice track, really cool song. This one was a single, and I had a great video with Nicholas Hoult. Yeah, that's definitely a favourite of mine on this, maybe even my favourite. And then the next track, this is quite a special one, this, because it's the last song to feature, maybe the last song to feature, 4 original members, because it's got Charlie Watts, Bill Wyman, Mick and Keith, Live by the Sword. It also features Elton John on the piano. It's a very cool bluesy little piece. It's one of my favourites on the album as well, to be honest. It reminds me of classic era Stones, like really early Stones. A very nice song. The piano playing's really cool, from Elton, of course. Yeah, a very decent track, that one. It's got a good drum beat as well. Bill Wyman, his presence isn't really that noticeable, to be honest. But definitely a cool track, one of my favourites here as well. And then we have Driving Me Too Hard, which is a lovely little track. It's a lovely little it's a love song of sorts, about a relationship that's straining a little bit. That's what I get from it. Really nice vocals from Mick, some good songwriting as well. The lead guitar lines are very nice and clean sounding. It's one of my personal favourites on here. I think it's got a lot of nice qualities and decent production. Yeah, it's a simple song, but I do really like it. Another one of my favourites on here. Then next we have the Keith song, Tell Me Straight. I don't really dig it, and I'll be honest, because I don't know, I think the song's just kind of boring. And that's not that I don't like the Keith-led Stone songs. I think some of them are absolutely fantastic. Happy and Before They Make Me Run, for example, amazing songs. You've Got the Silver's a great classic track, and even tracks like Through and Through off Voodoo Lounge are really good, but this is not one of my favourites, to be honest. It has got some quite nice piano-y bits, but overall, not too fussed. Sweet Sound of Heaven's next. This is the big one. It's got Lady Gaga and Stevie Wonder. So Stevie Wonder's feature is a little bit undermined, to be honest. Shame, because he's such a legend, but this is a big, epic track. Almost feels like it should be the closer. It's very similar to Shine a Light off Exile on Main Street. Gives that kind of vibe. It's a very big song musically. It's got great duet vocals between Mick and Lady Gaga. I think that's fantastic, actually. I think they harmonise really nicely. Decent little keyboardy bits as well from Stevie, of course. A very decent song, one that has grown on me over the course of the album being out. Not a bad song at all. Very nice track, and I do like the big arrangements of this song. And then the final track of the album is almost quite poetically a cover of Rolling Stone Blues, the song the Rolling Stones got their original name from. It's alright. I think it's a very nice thing to close the album off. You know, if this potentially is the last Rolling Stones album, which it may be. I mean, they were saying that they were recording another album, but you know what they're like. It took them 18 years to get this album. So, you know, whether it is the last Stones album or not, I think this would be a decent way to close it, to be honest. Doing a cover of the song where they got their name. Yeah, it's not bad at all. So, Hackney Diamonds. Will it go down as a Stones classic? Absolutely not. It's not one of the greatest albums by any means at all. But for an album made by a bunch of 70-year-old blokes, it's really solid, to be fair. I think the band sound really good. The songwriting's decent. You know, who knew the Rolling Stones would release a decent album in 2023, you know? So, in that way, it's very impressive. The production's nice, perhaps a little bit overproduced at parts. Some weaker tracks, but some very solid songs as well. Overall, I think it's a good record. I think it's a very good record for the band at this stage of their life, because it could have been awful. So overall, I very much enjoy Hackney Diamonds, and I hope to see them on the tour. If they do, obviously they will tour the UK eventually, maybe next year. Well, depending if nothing happens to any of them, they are getting on a bit. They're doing a US tour in the summer, and then I'm hoping for like a Europe/UK tour after that, so I'll see them again then. So yeah, that's my thoughts. The Rolling Stones, Hackney Diamonds. Thank you for watching.